Welcome to the Birch Legacies podcast. We are sharing stories celebrating the motivation, the perseverance, and the lifestyle choices necessary to reach the status of Birchlegger. That is, skiers who have completed 20 or more Birkies, Korte, or a combination of both. We would love to hear from Birchleggers young and old who have a story to tell about what keeps them coming back year after year. Information about appearing on this podcast is in the podcast notes. Hi, folks, and welcome back to Birch Legacies. And I'm here with a kind of a celebrity in the 2026 Birkebeiner. Scott Smith is with me today. And Scott, I think, if I'm not mistaken, were you the oldest finisher of the Birkebeiner this year?
I was, and I felt very honored to be that, because now that I've had so many Birkies, my one claim to fame is how old I am and still being able to do it.
You're doing a good job. And I saw a little video of you finishing. I think the Birkie featured you on either a Facebook post or something. I think I saw.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Scott. You know, where do you live and how did you get started and all that?
So, yeah, I now live in Hayward, but I have lived kind of all over the country, east and west anyway, not north and south so much. But I grew up in Connecticut, and there I sledded and ice skated. That was my connection with snow back then. Then when I lived in Buffalo and later in Chicago, I alpine skied before I ever even knew such a thing as Nordic skiing existed. And then in the Chicago area had like 80 inches of snow. I mean, it was like nothing before or after was anything like that. And I went over to a friend's house and he said, well, look what I've got here, some cross-country skis. And I was like, what the heck is a cross-country ski? Oh, you can ski on the flats and you don't have to just go down. You can even go up a hill.
Yeah, right.
That in the next year, 1980, I got a pair of plastic skis and started going. Living down there, you could go. They have a lot of forest preserves and with trails, and just ski around there. No tracks. They got into tracking kind of after I was leaving the Chicago area. It was just fun to get out there and track around. Classic ski. And in fact, I remember one day I was classic skiing, and here comes this guy by me, skating. And I said, what the heck is he doing? And how does he go so fast? So all through the 1980s, I did that. And in the late 80s, I went up with my son and another dad and son, and the four of us did alpine skiing. But I knew that at that point that there were regular Nordic skis. So I took my skis up to Wolverine and skied in set tracks.
Yeah.
And that was the moment for me when I said, I want to do this. I want to maybe do a race even at some point.
Yeah, what a beautiful place to start your experiences with cross country. The Wolverine trails are pretty well known and beautiful, and a lot of folks just take to those trails.
In 1990, I went to a race that my son was doing, a triathlon.
Okay.
And I had never done any kind of race at that point, and I was in my late 40s. And I said, wow, I could do this. And indeed, I did the following year. And then the winter after that, I had been involved with the Nordic Ski Patrol. In 1989, did all of the training for winter care, winter medical stuff, and as well as learning to ski better. Okay, they tested you to see how good your skills were.
Yep.
I never did the test because they said, well, Scott, if you can complete a full Birkie, then we'll pass you.
Okay.
So in 92, I went up with a group of guys and gals who did the race every year. And so we stayed in a place called Forest Point Lodging. And I did the race in 92. Great conditions. And at the end, I did it classic on a pair of pokies. And I went back to the lodging, and everyone said, oh, we're going out to some music event, put on for the Birkie. And I said, you guys go. I am going to get in the tub and just lay there. And that's what I did. Kept running hot water and letting some out. I was just beat.
Yeah.
Not for the first time, not for the last time, I should say.
Yeah.
And anyhow, that was a great experience. I thought about that all that summer and signed up for the next Birkie. And I have been in Hayward for every Birkie since then.
So your first Birkie was the 20th Birkie. And
Yes.
so what do you remember about the actual day of the event? I mean, other than being really tired afterward, what do you remember about the feeling of skiing that long and across that course?
Right. Having an alpine background is a huge advantage. In fact, I wrote an article for an alpine magazine down in the Chicago area, the premise of which was that if you have an alpine background, that sets you up to be a Nordic skier as well.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot of flexibility to do different stuff.
Did you find that the alpine connection really helped you a lot with that first one?
Yes, it did, because I was able to handle the downhills with no problem. And the uphills, when you're doing classic, uphills are not so bad, not so difficult as when you're skating. Yeah. I found out later.
That's what I feel.
So, indeed, I was really tired as we came onto the lake. And my legs had just had it. So all I could do was bend over and double pole across that lake. And oh my gosh, it seemed like the longest distance. You could look out and you could never see the end. And it still feels like that. Even this year. Yeah. This year was pretty tough in 26. But yeah, that's pretty much, I don't remember too much else about that.
Yeah.
But my second year, I decided to go skating, and I was not really a skilled skater at that point, but I improved my time by an hour. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah. So you said you had moved around quite a bit. So during this whole 10-year period, approximately, you were in Chicago?
Yes. I was in Chicago from September till I moved up here in 2011.
Okay. So this whole time you're training in Chicago, which, you know, in 1989, you said it had a lot of snow, but most years it rarely has enough snow to ski on, I would think. Is that correct?
Nowadays, yes. But in the 80s, which is when I was really beginning to classic ski, I would get out 40 to 60 times a winter.
Oh, that much. Okay. I guess it's a misconception. I had a friend that lived in Madison, and he always struggled, but he often struggled with snow.
I worked at Argonne National Laboratory, which is located in the middle of a forest preserve, Waterfall Glen Forest Preserve. Okay. Instead of playing bridge, which I did in the early years, when I discovered cross-country skiing, I went to do that at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And had to work late to cover the time that I didn't get back in time.
Okay.
And like I say, no tracks then, but it was still so much fun.
So you skied a bunch in a row then. Are there some memorable ones that you had, you know, as after you got done the first couple under your belt and you learned to skate better and all that? Which other ones stand out to you?
Well, in 96, I invited my 23-year-old son to come and ski the Birkie. And I gave him a lousy pair of skis, and I beat him by probably half an hour.
Okay. That's a good lesson. Give your kid the crappy skis.
Yeah. And then the next year he got a better pair of skis, and we about tied. And in fact, 97 was a fast year. Yeah. His first year was a terrible year. It got really warm. And so I remember hearing a guy say, "Oh, I never thought I'd have to pole down the hill."
Yeah.
But then 97, we both broke 4 hours. For the first time, 3.5 hours I did. Mm-hmm. And I was just thrilled with that. Well, he went on he was a big biker, and so he was highly conditioned. I remember people saying that bikers make good skate skiers, strong skate skiers, whereas running doesn't set you up so well for that. But anyhow, he went on to become an elite, finishing the top 200 for a number of years. And I was very proud of him. Mm-hmm. I remember skiing into finishing myself, going through that mushy snow onto Main Street that they used to have. And he was there. He had finished long before me at that point, and he says, "Your son made the elite wave."
That's
Like,
cool.
oh.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, other years, well, boy, they all blend together. But one in particular, sad note is that in 2011, just as we were planning to move up here, I fell off a ladder and broke my leg. And so that was the only Birkie that actually went that I did not ski.
Okay. Yeah.
Where I started.
Yeah.
And right. I thought about trying to do it as a sit skier, but I said,
Yeah.
well, that's probably a bad idea.
Well, that's the thing. You can do it, but if you were trained all year for it, because it's all that upper body, you know.
In fact, that's just something that I have in my memory of skiing. And I would be able to skate faster than a sit skier, but I just, it's so impressive to see those people go up a hill sitting down.
I think a lot of people can relate to that I'm very risk averse the last 6 weeks before the Birkebeiner. It's like, I want to make sure I don't do anything where I could fall or break anything or take any chances. And so,
right. Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned mountain biking. What are some of the things you do or have done, or maybe you still do to train during the year?
Well, back in the 90s, my summer conditioning was triathlon. And I just love doing those.
Yeah,
I love racing triathlons better than training for them. Training is just brutal.
Yeah.
But so I did that. I do mountain biking. I prefer mountain biking still to road riding.
Now, are you skate skiing these days or classic skiing again?
I finished 20 Birkies. Only 2 of them I did classic. The other 18 were skate. And then I decided to do the Korte because I felt like, I can be more competitive in that, because when I do the whole Birkie, I just kind of run out of gas about 40K, if not sooner. And so I'll be able to really push hard for the Korte. And in fact, for the first time, I won my age group in the Korte.
Sure.
So that was a thrill for me.
Yeah.
So I did 8 Korte skate. I skated 8 Korte.
So you did 20. You did 20 Birkies and then switched to Korte for a while and did 8 Kortes.
Kortes. And then I decided, what the heck? I'm going to go back and do the Birkie, because you get twice as many Ks for your money.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where you want to get what you pay for. Yeah.
Well, I just love doing the Birkie.
Yeah.
Why cut it short? So my first Birkie coming back was in 1, I think.
Okay.
And was that the year that they went around the circle? No, that was the year before.
Well, 21. 21. 21. I think was a COVID one where we did it on our own.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, I did it.
Yep.
On the Birkie Trail since I live here. And
so then in 22, you were.
So I was doing classic, all classic now. From switching from the Korte to the Birkie, I went from skate to classic, and I've never looked back. And let me talk about my family for just a minute.
Yeah, please.
I mentioned my son, who I got involved. Well, he has gotten one of his daughters, who was interested in it, into skate skiing. And that's my son's daughter. My daughter's daughter is a classic skier, and she lives in Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay. A little hard to do it there.
But my daughter's daughter and my son's daughter, both of them have 2 daughters, but only one of each is interested in skiing.
Yeah.
So they both granddaughters came, and my son and I, the 4 of us, went up this year and did the 2026 Birkie, and it was just a wonderful year.
So your granddaughters, even the one in D.C., did the whole Birkie?
Did the whole Birkie. She's done a number of half-distance races.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was very proud of her to get that done. And my daughter she's from Salt Lake.
Okay. So she's got Soldier Hollow. Yeah, they had a tough year this year. Soldier Hollow probably has snow that they make there, I would guess.
I think that's true. But she was able to get out. In fact, my son knows where to go, just in up high altitudes where you can have snow. And so, yeah, she did like 4 hours and 10 minutes, which is her
Good.
best time by far. Of course, it was a fast year.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good though. I mean, it's fun for those cousins too, probably to see each other and ski together
it is. It
and hang
is.
out. Yeah.
I mean, all four girls, I have four granddaughters, and all four of them have done the Birkie.
Okay.
In fact, the oldest one, which is the one from DC, when she did her first Birkie, I think she was 2 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
so she didn't legally qualify, but I said, "Oh, you're going to get out and do it." And she literally, within the sight of the finish line, fell asleep, and I had to hold her up. I was on skis too with her,
Yeah.
and I carried her across the finish line.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it's fun when they're that little. And yeah, one of my granddaughters has skied the Birkie well, she did the Junior Birkie this year. She's
Oh,
10,
great.
but she did the Birkie last year, and she's lives in Boston. It's my son's daughter. Yeah, so it's fun when you have multiple generations out there, and it makes some good pictures for the family too, isn't it? You get a picture of all four of you out there.
Absolutely. We've got a picture with the whole crew there, but the Birkebeiner is a Smith family tradition, and
Oh, that's good.
everybody has done some part of it.
Nice. Talking about your family, how many has your son done now? The one that started at 23, he's done how many now? 29, so he was going for 30.
He's looking forward to getting his 30th and getting a different color bib.
Yeah.
And he suggested to me, which I passed on to Ben, that how about when you get to 40, you have another color change?
Yeah.
And then when you get to 50, you're probably in the spirit of 35.
Yeah, I think most people in the spirit of 35 are there once they get to about 45. Right now, the current cutoff is about 45 under your belt, and you get spirit of 35. But it's based on how many people are still standing, basically. So,
right. Well, I'm at 24, and at 83, I don't think I'm going to make that.
well, the odds are against you. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk a little more about that. So your training, I mean, I'm 71, and when I think about myself at 83, I wonder which bones will be creaking and things. What are you doing to keep in shape and still be actively doing it? In fact, going back to the long race in your late 70s, what are you doing? What's your secret, I guess, is what people are going to want to know.
Okay. I actually do have a secret. We have friends in the Brook where I live. Dave and Darlene Prost ran a gym, a CrossFit gym when I was 70, so like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got into that and did a lot of weightlifting, a lot of cardio that they were putting on. And they closed the gym, but I bought some of their equipment, and I'm still weightlifting to this day. I credit that with keeping me in shape to still cross-country ski comfortably. Yeah. I'm a little more achy than I used to be, but I can still do it. And I stay in aerobic condition well enough. Compared to how I used to train, it's pretty pathetic. But I think that the strength training is so key to aging gracefully.
Yeah, that's a good point. You see the videos of people talking about just make sure you can still get up in and out of a chair without using your hands to pick you up, using your legs to do it. And there's so much about keeping strong that comes down to just doing the basic movements. But then you get out and do you roller ski or you're biking? You mentioned your bike a lot.
I do roller ski. And
you do? Okay.
A lot of guys have given that up, but they put in these new paved trails up at Telemark. And I classic ski around the easiest section, which I'm pretty comfortable with. And I just love it.
Yeah. I see those trails. I've been up there in the summer and I've seen the nice asphalt trail they have. They're very tempting. And I do have roller skis that I've at least temporarily put away. But so there's a segment of trail there that you feel is safe enough to you don't have any high speed turns or big downhills?
Right. I mean, there's one section there that's a long gradual downhill where you're really stepping around a corner. Of course, you can't slide around a corner.
Right. No, of course, yeah.
You have to step it. So you do have to know what you're doing, but you can really get a good workout.
Oh, that's good. I know you definitely get a good workout. I think one of the things that's concerned me when I do my roller skiing, I always worry about the debris that comes down from trees and things like that. That's what catches me.
they do brush off those trails. So
Okay.
that is nice because, yeah, I worried about going around a corner and finding a tree down or something. Like,
Yeah,
whoops.
or just even, sand or a twig or two. It's all it takes when you're roller skiing is to get a twig in your wheel.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So it's nice that the Birkie does make an effort to keep those clean.
Yeah, so that's kind of so you're not running, you're biking and you're roller skiing, you're doing some weights. Are you doing free weights or do you have a ski erg or what are you using? It's okay.
I'm doing squats and floor presses where you're laying on the floor as opposed to you should really have somebody spotting you if you're doing a bench press, but if you're
Yeah.
doing a floor press, you can drop the whole thing and it won't crush you. That has really helped me. And I try to do some aspects of that, like kettlebell swing,
Yeah.
which gives you some aerobic stuff. And the mountain biking, anything you can do to challenge your body will help you to keep doing stuff that you like to do.
Let's change gears a little bit and talk about the Birkie Week and what your traditions have been. You mentioned your family's involved. How, now you're obviously right there at the trail, so you just have to find a way to get to the start. But in the early days when you lived in Chicago and some of the other times, how did you get there? Where did you stay? How did you work that all out?
The early years, the first 5 or 6 stayed at Forest Point Chalet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then we would after that, we would rent a place. Oh, I can't remember the name of the company that has people will keep their cabin open
Okay.
in the winter. And so we would be able to rent that out. And they were, they made them available.
Like an early version of VRBO or something. We were just talking about traditions of that week, maybe
Right.
music
Week.
or any of the food that you have.
We usually volunteer on Wednesday to do something. I have also volunteered with my wife on the Birkie a couple of times. And that's so fun to watch those kids. They're just having such a good time and falling down.
Yeah. Pop right back up. It's kind of
Pop
envious.
right back up.
Yeah.
No problem. And it's just, the excitement of everything that's going on that week, going to pick up your bib, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think I saw in your notes that at one year you had family that did the Warriors.
Yes. My wife's daughter, Rebecca, and my son and I were selected as the Warriors in 2017.
Okay.
It's a notable year because we had a great time, but we didn't have any snow.
Oh, yeah.
It got canceled. So but
okay.
we went up. They did have snow up at the telemark start area. And so we went up there and we just had the most wonderful time, maybe a different experience than any other Warriors have ever had because we got to talk to people, just stand there and have a gab session with them.
It was more ceremonial.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you Torstein or Shervold? Which one were you?
I think I was Shervold because I think my son wanted to be Torstein.
Okay.
Cool name. I would like to talk just a moment about the fact that I have been PSIA trained, and so I give ski lessons, both classic and skate.
Yeah.
And I don't mention my age because I feel like people say, well, I don't want to take a lesson from an old guy.
Yeah.
But I can still do that. I know what to say. I know how to tell them how to do things a little differently that'll be more efficient.
Yep.
And especially the beginning classic skier who really doesn't know the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
I never took a lesson. I want to get them started better than I got started. And it's just a thrill to see them doing things correctly in just an hour or 90 minutes. I usually give a 90-minute lesson. And it's just wonderful to see them doing things right and being more efficient.
Yeah.
And once a person gets the general idea of what to do, their body takes them the rest of the way. But if they never get that lesson, then they'll continue to ingrain, like I did, the wrong way to do things for too many years.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people that have been on the podcast have shared that one of the best pieces of advice they give people is that they should get a lesson, because the efficiency makes it more fun.
It really does. And, people do not understand that double poling is one of the fastest ways, one of the most efficient ways, but really uses your body weight to propel you down and your legs to propel you down the trail.
Well, and it's so critical. There's, you have different things you do at different pitches and different amounts of difficulty of snow. And the double poling sometimes, like you said, is the very fastest thing you can do, and other times you got to know when to get out of it. Don't keep doing it, but do it when it's the right time to do it.
Well, when you're so tired from skating up hills, if you can jump into tracks and just let your muscles regroup, then you can get back and climb those hills again. Mm-hmm. But it really does help to relax for a moment.
Sure. So you jumped in, you said your first one was your 49. And so people listening that are going, will I ever get there? Or when should I start? Start when you're ready, I think sounds like your advice. Any other advice that you have for people that are getting into skiing or would like to be Birchleggers or maybe even do their first Birkie? They've been doing the Prince Haakon for a while or the Korte and they want to try a Birkie. What kind of advice do you have for them?
So my one main recommendation is to just take it easy. Get a lesson, train during the summer, and just go out and have a good time. Don't worry about your time, which, you can get a little obsessed about that. And I have a memory of when I was in a ski race sometime in the 2000s, my legs were just cramping like crazy. And I came upon this ski patroller and he says, "You look like you're having problems." I said, "I'm cramping." And he says, "Oh, here, let me help you." And he massaged my thighs. And I've always remembered that helped so much and it just stayed with me. So there are good people out there supporting you. And to do a full Birkie is just so rewarding. You are so proud of making that accomplishment. In one of your other broadcasts, someone mentioned that a running marathon is, in so many ways, much harder. You don't get to glide.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to keep pushing even downhill. And that's one of the beauties of cross-country skiing.
Yeah.
And that you are able to rest on the downhill.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Birkebeiner Trail itself. While it's kind of known to be one of the more difficult World Lopet tracks or trails, I feel like it's almost perfectly designed because about the time you're too tired from climbing, you get a rest. It's just there is the up and down. I think the advantage of the rolling hills is that there is a give and a take that, for me personally anyway, seems to be a great fit. It's like, okay, good, perfect. That's right what I needed right now.
I've done the Moravasa 3 times. And that is such a hard race because you don't get that.
Right.
You just have to push. There's no hills to speak of.
Yeah.
So, that's tough.
Hey, I want to make sure, one of the things that's kind of fun is that you sent me a audio of a song that you created, adding to the legacy of the pantheon of Birkie songs. Do you want to talk us through? We're going to play it on the podcast here at the end. Do you want to talk us through it and give a little introduction to what's going on?
Yeah, I've always loved listening to the Birkie songs, Birkie Fever and all of them. And Korte Dreaming, a friend of mine, Mike Meisner, initiated that song. And so I wanted to do something of my own. And I'm a big John Denver fan. I love playing the guitar. I just put some new words to a song that John Denver called Starwood and Aspen so that it pertained to the Birkebeiner ski race. It was so fun to do, and I've sung it in fact, I took it in and sang it to the Birkie. Ben Pop let me come to the start of one of their committee meetings early in the day one day, and I sang it for them. I sang it for the church. I sang it at the Portage open mic that they have up in Cable. And I even sang it at our church, at the end of our church service. I sang it before we adjourned. It's a little unchurch-like, but never mind.
Oh, yeah. For a lot of people, the Birkebeiner is church.
It is worship. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Well, we're going to play it here at the end of the podcast. So if folks stay tuned, and what's the name of it?
My Sweet Birkie Trail Paradise.
All right. So, Scott, is there anything else that you'd like to say before we sign off? Thanks so much for being on here today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting you next time we're up there.
I just want to close by saying that cross-country skiing has been a focus of my life since I discovered it at the tender age of about 37. And it has done so much for me. And I hope I've given back some small fraction of that in how I've helped others to fall in love with the sport like I have.
And I know with your volunteering and your work with Trail to the Prince Haakon and the teaching that you've been doing and instilling a love for it with your own family, it's clearly a great legacy, and it's not over yet for sure.
Yeah, I will keep doing it. I have told this to people, and I wonder about the wisdom of saying this out loud, but I would like to become the oldest person to have ever completed a Birkie. And I think I have to be about 87 to be able to say that. And I'm just going to keep doing it until I can't. And I know that's going to happen at some point. But
I wish you well, and I hope that you reach that goal. Whether you do or not, it's been a great ride already. So thanks for being here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate doing this. It's been fun to express some of the ideas I've felt about this wonderful race.
All right, great. So now, as promised, here is Scott Smith singing My Sweet Birkie Trail Paradise.
So this is what I call my Sweet Birkie Trail Paradise. It's a long way from Table to Hayward, a long time to ski down the trail. It's over 2K to cross the ice of Lake Hayward. That'll bring me to the International Bridge. So I can't wait to make that last climb. Winter time is rolling on slowly. Empty skies are bringing me down. But I can't remember when I've ever been so anxious. I remember what it's like to stride this trail. It'll be great to be sliding on snow. And I think on last year's sweet memories. I think of the Birkies' hard times. I think on that race from Cable to Hayward. All my friends and the snow-covered hills. Well, my friends out in the snow-covered hills. And I tell you, I'm happy to be here to share and consider this time. I've worked so hard, training all summer. I can't wait to skate this old trail. It's just like an old friend to me. But it's a long way from my home to Hayward. It's a long way north of Birchlegger. It's a long, long way to the northwoods of Wisconsin, to my Sweet Birkie Trail Paradise. Yes, my Sweet Birkie Trail Paradise.
Thanks for listening. Please check out the podcast notes to see links to the Birch Leggings Club and the Birkie website. If you've skied a combination of 20 Birkies and or Kortes, I encourage you to join the Birch Leggings Club. If you'd like to tell your Birkie story, please contact me, John Peterson, at my email listed in the podcast notes or by filling out the guest application form linked there. Please subscribe to our program wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review. You can also text us directly from your phone or computer using the quick link in the notes to let us know how we are doing.